The Weeknd demands Kanye's $8.5 million Coachella paycheck, threatens to pull out. And I tried to do.
That's what she said.
I was literally like, don't make the joke. Don't make the joke. But thank you. You read my mind.
I was immature
Thank
for
you. That's what I appreciate that big time.
I think based on current Me Too culture, it has to be a lady who says that.
It is.
I can't say for sure, but I think that's the rule.
Would I be like gender appropriating? Is that a thing, or sexually appropriating?
You're just not allowed to talk
creepy.
about sex in front of women. We're sort of weirdly going back to Puritan standards.
I mention that all the time, and other people say it's not Puritanism. I say it's Puritanism by way of force through feminism.
I used to always identify as a Puritan to people. They didn't really like it.
You wear like the hat, like we got those hats down there that look like you would have come
gloomy and like oppressive rule. No, I'm just kidding.
There's the governor. No, he's the mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee, or Knox County, Tennessee, or something like that. He's a former pro wrestler named Kane. And he's like a lifelong libertarian. He was writing articles for libertarian like newsletters back in the 90s. And he has like he made a really
90s libertarian.
But I'm saying like he was active in politics, even in the industry back then. And he had like a post that he released one day where he said like what was it? He said Puritanism is the haunting fear that someone somewhere is having fun. Like that.
David Sedaris talks this author that I'm a huge fan of talks about like basically identifying as a Puritan because he and his partner, he's a gay man, and his partner are monogamous, and he like has this whole essay about how he's like, you know, I always felt like that was the way it should be, but it's unusual among a lot of my friends, but you know. So they would consider me a Puritan, and I never really thought about it because I had to spend so much time cobbling shoes, milking a cow.
Cobbling shoes.
It's a great essay. I'll have to show it to you.
I would love to learn how to cobble.
Yeah.
I want to learn. I was like, jobs I always wanted was either to be a cobbler or I wanted to learn how to be a locksmith.
One of my favorite quotes from Gilmore Girls is this guy pretending to be like from the early pre-Revolutionary War America, and he is saying, "I'll cobble you a cobbled thing for a hay penny." And they're like, "I don't think he knows what a cobbler does."
I don't even know what a hay penny is. What the hell's a hay penny?
Yeah. Anyways, let's cobble some cobble.
You know, the Weeknd is getting a pretty penny.
Yes, 8.5 million hay pennies. Actually, that would be like a lot more hay pennies, but yes. So basically, it says the drama at Coachella continues to play out. As we know, Kanye backed out just the other day. Kim has now since come out and made herself look even better, where she's like, I forgive you, Kanye, and we're always going to be family. Playing like, I literally see her as like Cruella DeVille PR person. She's incredible. But it says Coachella organizers allegedly tried to stiff the Weeknd after he stepped up to replace Kanye West as Sunday's headliner at the festival later this month. There's a great "that's what she said" joke in there earlier, but I'm not going to edit there at the stiff part. We're told that the singer threatened to pull out of if he wasn't paid the same money as Kanye West, who is set to rake in $8 million plus $500,000 in production fees. I don't know if that means like going towards like setting up the actual concert. A la, like they were talking about, remember when Adele was like, they couldn't get her show exactly?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of phrased to me like it would be like his team and his company cover production costs, like setting stuff up, and then Coachella
reimburses.
So he's really earning $8 million. Okay. But
so it says, page 6 has exclusively revealed that The Weeknd was the front runner to replace the All the Lights rapper who bailed on the gig less than 2 weeks before the show. Coachella organizers announced early Wednesday that The Weeknd, 32, and house music supergroup Swedish House Mafia will be taking over for the rapper's slot on April 17th and Sunday, April 24th. So it's 2 weekends. But a music source told us the deal wasn't even done for the Blinding Lights singer when they made that announcement. That makes it seem to me that he has all the bargaining power. Like,
yeah, he definitely does.
There's only so many artists of that. So,
Coachella's had a rough go of it, though. I mean, they've canceled they canceled 2020 and 2021, and I think that made a lot of artists sort of nervous to sign with them because of all the COVID regulations. They didn't know if it was going to happen or not.
Oh, because
are they still enforcing any?
I don't know that they're effective anymore. I mean, part of it, like, one of the funny things about it was like at Coachella, it's in the desert, so there's a lot of dust. So they've actually always recommended people wear masks because of you can get sick, you can inhale the dust.
That makes perfect sense.
And so that was sort of like already in effect. I haven't checked in a long time, basically, to keep Coachella, to be updated with what's going on with Coachella. But I know in 2021 they tried and they canceled it, and the refund, and it's sort of all over the place. I could see it being both that it's Kanye has a lot of bargaining power, but also the event that had been so popular sort of trying to regain its footing.
So Kanye was set to make that much anyways. That was what he had negotiated, and from what I understand, I'm going to come back to this article, but Ariana Grande pulled the same amount, 8 million, and Beyonce was said to be like 8 to 12 million. Later said to be 8 million. So that seems to be about the going rate for whoever the headliner is at the festival area. And arguably Kanye's would have been making less, or The Weeknd will be making less because of inflation, relating to those costs. So, so it says the source said that The Weeknd came in short notice to take Kanye's top spot, but Phil Anschutz, who owns Coachella through AEG Live, I think that's Golden Voice is the other name for that company, or one of the names for that company. It says wanted to hold on to Kanye's money and pay The Weeknd far less, just a few million. The festival would pocket the rest. Maybe they're hurting for costs right now because of all the cancellations.
Or maybe they just don't think. I mean, like, devil's advocate here. Maybe they just don't think The Weeknd is worth Kanye money.
If you're
I
coming
didn't think that he was a good replacement for Kanye. Everyone got their tickets to see Kanye.
Yeah.
Maybe not on Kanye's level. I mean, I don't know if he's not on Kanye's level of fame, but he's as much of a household name as Kanye is. Not
sure, but I bet a ton of fans are getting refunds because of Kanye leaving.
And Kanye is sort of, I mean, ask Dane, who's on the show pretty regularly. Kanye fans, the Donda Boys, as they often identify themselves, are not paying to see The Weeknd.
Yeah.
They're paying to see Kanye.
Yeah.
He has such a cult following and brand that The Weeknd, while popular,
no one really cares about The Weeknd's personality.
I feel like what's that one? Something like, I don't know. I'm not good with rappers, but like there are a couple who are extremely popular and people really follow their career. The Weeknd is sort of not the same level of
they like his music. I don't think they really care that much about him as a person.
Yeah, he's not really like a cult figure the way some of these other people are.
But he still has all the bargaining power because he's being brought in at the last minute, and it's just like when somebody who gets brought in to do a job, when all else fails, you can ask for more money.
Which is like good on him for doing that. I just think it actually isn't totally unreasonable at the festival would be like, well, we're not going to. Your base pay for us wouldn't have been Kanye money anyways.
Yeah. So it's what they were saying is like I saw an article that said Eminem pulls about $1 million for a Coachella appearance.
Just $1 million?
Lady Gaga $4 million. And if you work out what they're doing, because they're doing 2 weekends, it's about $4 million per weekend. If they're making $8 million, they're making about $4 million per performance per performance.
So Kanye would have made like $16 million.
No, Kanye would have made that. That's something that they're making $8 million, so they're making about $4.
So like if you're saying Eminem makes $1 million,
but he's not doing the headline, so he's likely just doing one weekend.
One weekend. Okay.
And Lady Gaga would be just doing one weekend.
Okay.
And I mean, there was probably a time when she would have headlined, right?
And the 2 weekends that Kanye was supposed to be on, The Weeknd is doing both, or he's doing one and Sweet House Mafia is doing the other?
No, he's doing both. That was the other thing I was wondering, is it because it's like a dual headline show that like they thought they were going to pay him less because they were going to put the rest of that money into paying Swedish House Mafia? Like, I can't imagine they're worth. I mean, maybe am I just out of touch? I don't feel like they're worth $1 million for a music performance.
I thought they stopped touring at one point.
Okay,
and so maybe in that sense, it's like a premium to see them. I have no evidence to back this up, I have to say.
Yep.
I remember they've been really popular for a long time, and so in some ways they might have more of a dedicated following that is willing to spend money.
Plus people that love live music. So I suppose that drives ticket sales. So the source said that even after Coachella announced the new lineup on Wednesday, a deal wasn't in place for The Weeknd, who threatened to pull out at an hour's notice if he didn't get the same deal as Kanye. Finally, on Wednesday, faced with the prospect of a second headline act pulling out of Coachella at the last minute, Anschutz's company caved and agreed to pay The Weeknd the same money. While reps to Anschutz didn't comment, a second insider said the billionaire AEG mogul wasn't personally handling the negotiations himself. I'm sure not. Like, if he's a billionaire, this is just one of his subsidiary companies. Somebody else was doing the negotiating. A rep for The Weeknd didn't return multiple calls for comment. Good for them for trying multiple times. Earlier this week, they
mean that multiple outlets contacted them.
Yes.
So it's not like Page Six called multiple times, just for reference. I don't know which, but that's sometimes what that means.
Okay, yeah, multiple people reached out.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, and they just talk about, and I just pulled this up for reference, is that he left $8 million on the table to do this, to what he said was he wants to get right and get help and be healthy again. And we can only hope. And I saw Kim's post today. I didn't pull those up where she's talking about how like, we want you to get better. Like she just always comes out looking so much.
She says that, but she's doing things to intentionally provoke him. Like she's got Kanye's daughter sitting in another man's lap.
Yes, tell them about that. That was creepy.
North, apparently, they're saying the kids just met Pete like days ago.
Yep.
And then there are pictures of North sitting in Pete's lap. First of all, this guy doesn't even have kids, right?
No.
He's not even a dad himself. That's just super weird. And no kid would normally behave that way, like without being influenced by their parents.
And there was that whole text exchange between Kanye and Pete where he was like, I'm in bed with your wife. And it's like, in her house, right? Because she has children and it's a weekday, so presumably she's home.
Yeah.
Like it seemed weird that they're like, I saw all these headlines that were like, Kim introduces Pete to North for the first time. Like you only introduce him to one of your children and this is the first time. Like that doesn't feel realistic.
Nope.
I am very, and like there were quotes from Kanye being like, I'm hearing that the boyfriend's in the house. Like, what does I mean, they know they have a big mansion. I guess maybe he stayed on his half. Like, I don't know.
Section off.
Might be easier to sneak around that. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was curious about what Coachella makes per show, right? Just because I was looking at that number, it's like 8 million is a lot of money, and I don't know how much ticket sale. You know, I'm assuming tickets are fairly expensive. It says in 2017 and 2018, the estimated earnings for Coachella was 114 million. There are about 6 million Americans. There was a lot of money in it that year. It says, so it says an average artist, like a lower tier artist, will make 75 to 125K at the, what is it? I think that was like the AC/DC, Jack White, and Drake are likely to earn hundreds of thousands of dollars performance. There's also an option below, so a tier below them would be in that range. And there's just the headliners get paid 3 to 5 million usually up until 2018. That's what they said. Beyonce and Ariana Grande pulled in more. So that's one for equality, right? Women and men making the same amount.
Stop trying to make feminism cool.
No gender wage gap. No $1 million gender wage gap between Ariana Grande and Kanye West and The Weeknd. Look at that. They're so mad at me right now. They both look just very unamused by my half joke.
We're tired.
I'll say it again. Stop trying to make feminism cool, Brett.
I'm not trying. I didn't. I was surprised by a number that said Drake making 900,000. He feels like he would be $1 million.
But again, are they saying this per performance or per weekend?
These aren't headliners. These are just people on the show. So that's
I would think Drake would make more.
Yeah, you would think he would make more than 900,000. That, of course, could be an older year. By now, he might be making more than that. But it feels like he's been at his like zenith for quite some time. Like he's not gaining more popularity. He's just remaining relevant and culturally significant. So I don't know. Good for Ariana Grande and Beyonce, I guess. But I'm being yelled at by my co-hosts with looks.
What?
They seemed very angry that I brought that up. No, I'm
excited for you if you're excited for Ariana. I just don't personally care.
But they said I was surprised because it said Beyonce paid between 8 and 12 million, but then one source told me like it was 8, and then another one said maybe 8 as much as 12. So there was no way for me to confirm whether it was that much. That would be a lot.
I wonder how like merch sales and stuff are governed here too,
Yeah,
right? Because like, are they allowed to sell their own merch and just do this give a portion to Coachella sells its own stuff. Like they might not be able to give a clear number.
Yeah,
some of it might be in flux.
They probably. I mean, that's where most like mid-tier bands make their money, right? Just merch sales. Like your average like traveling, mid-level rock band doesn't make their money off the live performances. They make their money off merch sales and that type of stuff. So who knows? Nowadays, I imagine like I don't know how much you guys listen, like follow music or have bands that you follow, but I have to imagine like Patreon has to be more important than ever now for like struggling bands that are like trying to get a foothold, because music fans are so distinctly passionate by nature that when you find somebody that really likes a band, they tend to really get into it. So I feel like they kind of inspire more support than your average person who's just looking to get support for something they're creating.
Yeah, and I think, can't you subscribe to certain channels off of YouTube too? Like my stepmom's into some like folk country like new stuff that comes out, so she subscribes to a channel.
Yeah, you can be a channel member on YouTube,
and then you're getting like you
can super follow on Twitter now.
Yeah, Twitter Blue or whatever.
The thing that changed over the years with music fans is if bands were looking to make money or appeared to want to make money off of their music in any way, they'd get viciously attacked for being sellouts.
Yeah, you're not allowed
And
to. You're not
these
allowed
days-
to enjoy it.
I don't know why, but these days people are a lot more pragmatic about that,
Yeah.
and they actually want to financially support artists.
Do you want to hear my theory on this?
What?
I think this has a lot to do with influencer culture. I think it's because influencers can say to you, like, yeah, I know you've seen a lot of ads on my Instagram. Like, you know, this is how I do my job. And people will comment and be like, oh my gosh, mommy blogger, we love you. We're happy to help you make money. Or like, think of all of like the YouTube vloggers that you follow who are like, you know, it's a word from our sponsors. And like, don't skip our ads because that's how we're going to pay for our house. You know what I mean? And I think that like it opened the door for musicians to be like, yes, if I don't make money, I cannot do this. I think our culture has changed in how we see spending, basically like attention and currency accordingly.
They maybe people are realizing that there really isn't that much romance in the idea of the starving artist. Just not really a romantic.
If they
gesture.
starve to death, then you can't hear their music.
See,
so.
the funny thing is, to make music, I actually have to eat food and pay my bills. I have equipment that needs to be bought. That's what they would, you know, like it's amazing to me that's absolutely very true, that most people back in the day seemed to only want to support them if they were suffering, but not if they actually wanted to go into the mainstream and make actual money.
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see like a documentary on like essentially middle class artists, like artists who are not mega famous.
Yeah.
They're not, you know, blowing up everywhere, but they are basically working musicians and they go on tour, but they provide their like families or their lifestyle like a nice normal tier of comfort and financial security.
There was a documentary about Warped Tour that was made in 2010, and they followed a small band that was traveling from location to location in a van together, just completely like sleeping on the floor of the van, and like I think at one point there was like a chicken rotting under a seat in the van.
That's disgusting.
What was it called? I don't remember what it was called, but they also looked at other like bigger artists too.
You get a glimpse of it in this documentary called The Other F Word, which is about like punk musicians who become fathers. It's really good. I highly recommend it. And some of them are still like, you know, touring, and they have these kids, and they don't live. Some of them are extremely successful, and you can tell that their lifestyles are lavish, and other ones seem sort of like successful but not like out of this world financially rich, I guess.
They're not making the Weeknd money.
Sure, they would be happy with the $6 million Coachella wants to pay them.
So we will see how that goes. I think it's good that he asked for the same amount of money. I don't think he should have settled for less than that. If I was him, I would have tried to get more. I would have been like, nope, $10 million or another weekend with no headliner. Sorry, guys, and then make them pay. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.